special city council meeting of the city of San Juan Bautista, Tuesday, July 12th, 2022 at 6 p.m. This meeting will be conducted pursuant to the provisions of the Governor's Executive Order N-2920. In order to minimize the spread of COVID-19 virus, the City Council is conducting this meeting by Zoom conference and will be offering alternative options for public participation. Please follow CDC guidelines regarding preventative measures and do your part to help flatten the curve and prevent further spread of COVID-19. Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember Friels, will you please start us off in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, I'd love to. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America,
the Republic
which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. May I have a roll call vote, please? I mean, a roll call, please.
Yes.
I do that every time.
It's habit when you say the vote more often in the meeting. Councilmember Etch.
Here.
Vice Mayor Flores. Vice Mayor Flores, you're muted, please.
Here.
Great, thank you. It's nice to get that voice on record there. Councilmember Friels.
Here.
Councilmember Freeman.
Here.
Mayor Jordan.
Here.
Mayor, we have all members of the council present.
Thank you very much. Public comment. Public comment will be only on items on the agenda. I will now open the meeting to public comment only on items on the agenda. We have anyone from the public who wishes to speak on any agenda item prior to going into closed session.
So those who are in attendance tonight and joining us, please raise your hand by pressing the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen, or press *9 for those that have called in. Your hand will be raised and you will be given the allotted time of 3 or 5 minutes. Mayor, what's
3, please?
3. You will be given 3 minutes to speak and address the council on matters on the agenda. This does include matters under closed session. So if you would like to speak on anything on a closed session matter, please use this time to speak on that as well. Madam Mayor, we do have a hand raised. I am bringing in Jackie Morris Lopez here. And
Thank
Jackie,
you,
when you unmute yourself, I will start your 3-minute timer.
Hey,
Yes,
Jackie, welcome.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, councilmen and staff. I guess I'm kind of curious. I don't know if I'm going to make a comment, but I understand that one of the items has to do with evaluation of our current city manager, Mr. Don Reynolds, and that is in closed session. So I'm a little confused because what I understand is that Mr. Reynolds his contract has been extended till the end of the year. So I'm not quite sure. It almost seems kind of backwards that you're reviewing Mr. Reynolds now. My only comment is that you as a city council members take a look at the entirety of Mr. Reynolds' tenure. Certainly has done a lot of work with the water and sewer. That was a really pressing and urgent issue. But I also think that we need to look at the entirety of job performance. And that is in terms of subordinates that he delegates and supervises, because that's a reflection on his managerial skills. Taking a look around at what's going on our city streets, what's going on with properties, what's going on with code enforcement. All of that should be into consideration under the purview of reviewing Mr. Reynolds' job performance, not just in terms of isolation of his successes with the water and sewer. I understand that's huge, but I think the entirety is how Mr. Reynolds runs the city and manages staff that does answer to him. His relationship with the city council and with planning commissioners as well is really integral. How accessible he is and responsive. And like I said, take a look at what's going on around the city streets and what's being done. Thank you for your time, and have a good evening and good meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have anyone else?
We do have someone else. I'm bringing in Cara, I believe. I messed it up last time. Cara Vong, if you unmute yourself, a 3-minute time will start.
Hi, Cara, welcome.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me. I'm on my phone.
We can hear you fine. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Because I can't stay for the entire meeting. So I'd like to comment on the right-hand turn lane, which I understand is on your agenda by the, upcoming ARCO station. And, we just had the connectivity consultants working with us. So my comments have to do with the sidewalk there. I'm hoping that it will follow our city design guidelines and also the connectivity guidelines. And that would mean putting in a planting strip with trees between the sidewalk and the street. Also, I'm sure you know the Marentis, it's not the Marentis, it's a Wilcox House, which is on the National Register, right across the street from the gas station. It would be nice if it could be shielded somewhat from all the activity that's going to be taking place there with trees. And also, I hope it won't have rolled curbs. It'll have the, the traditional city type of curbs. So again, please take a look at the design of that sidewalk that's going to be running along the ARCO station. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do
Anyone
we
else?
have anybody else?
Anyone else who would like to speak tonight? Please raise your hand by using the raise hand button at the bottom of the screen, and you will be brought into the meeting. And when you unmute yourself, your 3-minute time will start. We do not have any other hands raised at this time.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for participating. I am now closing public comment and the council will adjourn to closed session. Please be patient. The council will return about 7:15. Discussion items during closed sessions are conference with legal counsel on anticipated litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 of subdivision D of the California Government Code section 54956.9 and the evaluation of public employee city manager pursuant to Government Code section 54957B. Thank you very much. Will you please take us into closed session?
Yeah.
Madam Mayor.
Sorry, go ahead. Yep. Hey,
We
Cody.
do- Yeah, I say we do have a staff. While we didn't have any public hand raised, someone in staff did want to say something.
Yeah, I just want to briefly comment on the conference with legal counsel for anticipated litigation, that this matter regards some anticipated litigation concerning consideration of entering into a settlement agreement and a stipulated order with the Central Coast Regional Water Quality Control Board. So that's the nature of the matter this evening. The council will hear in closed session. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Cody, go ahead. You had a question?
Yes, I'm sorry. I think Dawn might be addressing it, or I just had a question about, myself and the owners of the corner lot there at the Alameda and 156 are present here. So I just wanted to make sure that I heard the time that you'll be returning back from closed session correctly as 7:15, or was it? Is that right? 7:15-ish. Okay. Perfect.
Not before then, right? Okay.
Well, I don't know. How does that work?
Yeah, I'll be monitoring.
This is the first time we're using this.
Good format.
Okay.
So
It's the council's discretion to take as long as the council needs in closed session.
Right.
If it takes you an hour, it takes you an hour. If it takes you 45 minutes, that's what it takes. 2 hours, that's what it takes.
perfect.
I
Thank
will
you.
remain here as the host in the open session with the public, letting people know as they come and go that you'll be in closed session, but it is council's discretion. General counsel, Bob Rathie, please definitely correct me if I'm wrong, but
No, you're correct.
the point of closed session is you do what you need to do in that closed session and take whatever time you need.
Awesome. Thank you very much. We'll see you in a few.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. See you in closed session.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Heidi. Sorry about that disruption that just occurred. I see that you are still in the attendee list. Hiccup with transferring out there. This is Norma, city clerk advisor here. I'm bringing you over.
Hi. I just want to let you know, because you got kicked off and we don't know when the thing gets started at the Board of Supervisors, they say closed session, but you don't get kicked off. So
No.
if you got kicked off, I'm letting you know that, I don't know if you can hear me because it keeps
I
going.
can. Yeah,
Okay.
I can hear you. And
So,
they didn't, when disconnected, I should say when the person got off, Dawn got off, the transfer didn't happen properly. So yeah, I'm hoping that some of the people, I have all the names down who was in attendance.
okay.
So
I don't know why my name says Heidi on Heidi Balt Heidi again, but okay.
oh, I just see Heidi Baltz Heidi. Oh, I see what you're saying with the extra Heidi.
I don't remember ever saying that again, but I just wanted to let you know, because we won't know if it only took them 20 minutes or it took them an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. So if anyone joins back,
I mean, I'm plugged in. I can mute myself and not, I'm fine. I just didn't want when they start, they'll be already good to go,
yeah. Yes, and I see that Cody's come back too. So
You can mute, because I'm not seeing how I can mute oh, now I can.
oh, I'll put you back to the attendee list then. Thank you, Heidi.
I just
I see that we have another member of the public who has joined us. Want to let you know that the city council is in closed session right now. So the open session, we are sitting here waiting until they return. I don't recognize the number. The last four digits are 8813. So I just wanted to let you know that we are in closed session at this point. Hey, Leslie.
Hey, can you give me the passcode for this one, please?
Yeah.
Um, can I find it on here?
The meeting ID is on the agenda, and I think once you use that meeting ID,
I have it. I have it. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Oops.
And when Don left the meeting, he didn't transfer host to me, full host. So this meeting did get cut off. I logged into his account, got it started right away from that. But just to let you know, when Don comes back in, I had to log in under his account. So he needs to, we might have to finagle a little bit if he tries to log back in himself as well. I don't know what Zoom will do. So just to let you know.
Okay.
He may have, what I'm thinking is he may have to come in under Brian's account, and then I make him the host and all that kind of fun stuff. But just so before you leave closed session.
We are finished with closed session.
Already done. Where is everyone? Okay.
I just texted you. We're starting at 6:50.
Oh, that's what that text meant.
Yeah.
I'm like,
sorry. Yes.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. So if you want to tell, oh, Scott's there. If you can pull him over.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Oh, good. It worked. Good, 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 good.
What was the purpose of doing this? The back and forth?
It's the way that it's supposed to be done.
It maintains the confidentiality of the closed session.
And I fully understand that. I just had no idea we were doing it.
Oh.
I guess I'll put that on an eval. No, I'm kidding.
Is this the first time you guys have, I know it's the first time you've gone into closed session since I've been working with you.
It is not our first closed session. It's the first time we've done it as one agenda.
Got it.
We start out on one agenda and then kick everybody off.
So in the past, did you just have, the meeting was solely just to discuss closed session? And this is the first time?
No, and then we went into a special meeting or a regular meeting.
Okay.
And we are recording.
We are, yeah, I maintain the recording.
I don't know how I did that.
We do have 3 members in the public who rejoined back, first joined us. 1 dial-in that I don't recognize. And I messaged Don and see if he's having.
Oh, yeah, I was going to message him. Can you switch his name to your name?
I can change his name out. Depending, okay, I see Councilmember Freeman. I'm going to bring him in. Depending on what Dawn needs to do, this is going to sound more complicated than it really is, but I will, oh, looks like Dawn's coming on as Dawn. Never mind. So I will change my name.
Seeing double vision all over the
I
place.
know, right?
So, we're still recording. Thank you, Norma. Thank you for hanging out for us. We need to get on to Facebook. I'm not the host anymore. Did I want to reclaim? I don't need to reclaim host, but can you, I don't know if you can sign us up for Facebook because I don't know the password.
I don't think so. So I'm going to make you host.
Okay. Oh, I can reclaim host. Okay, I'm now the host.
Perfect.
So let me get us back on Facebook.
Okay. Can you make me co-host?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. We are close to having everyone here. Looks like we got Friels,
Yeah,
Freeman, Jordan.
Waiting
We're still
for Councilmember Friels and Councilmember Edge.
Scott's here.
Oh, Scott's here. I'm sorry. Councilmember Edge and Vice Mayor Flores.
Yes. Okay, cool. Thank you, Don. I just muted you, Don, because I think you're working with Facebook right now. Yeah, we started to get some.
I shut it off. We're good.
Perfect. You're great. We're getting good at this, like knowing when that sound is and what it is, huh? Okay, so we have Vice Mayor Flores here. Let me see my cheat sheet. Mayor, do you have Councilmember Edge's, or I'm sorry, not Mayor, Don, do you have Councilmember Edge's number? I don't see that she has joined us yet. Jackie, good to see you back. I see you're in the line here. So everyone that was on during the open session prior to closed session, except for Cara, has joined us back. We do have an additional member of the public with us. And so we're still at this point waiting for Councilmember Edge, but we do have a quorum, Mayor. You can move forward as you wish.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. It is 6:51. Attorney Rathie is here. Welcome back all. Attorney Rathie, can you please take us out of closed session and into the regular session?
Yes, Mayor, I will sure do that. Yeah, the council met this evening on the two items listed on the agenda, one of which was a conference with legal counsel regarding some matters of anticipated litigation, one matter, and also concerning the evaluation of the city manager. Council received information and provided direction concerning the first matter and received information concerning the second matter. And there was no reportable action taken this evening in the closed session on either matter. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Okay, sorry. Action items 4A, approve affidavit of posting. May I have a motion to approve the affidavit of posting the agenda?
Move to approve the affidavit of posting.
Thank you very much. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Edge,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Flores, you'll need to unmute. Oh,
Yes.
thank you very much. Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes, here.
Mayor Jordan,
Yes,
motion passes unanimous vote.
thank you very much. Discussion items. Consider adoption of the resolution approving the First Amendment to the reimbursement agreement between the city and SJB Alameda Enterprises LLC for construction of a right turn lane on State Route 156, its intersection with the Alameda. City Manager, take us away.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, that resolution is a draft. We won't be taking any action tonight. But I do have, of course, a few slides to share with you as a matter of background. This is the first time the city council has, the three city council members have seen this project. I believe Councilmember Friels saw it as a planning commissioner, perhaps. I'm not sure. Okay, yeah, so I wanted to take our time with this because Councilmember Freeman pointed out to me that the last time the council took action back in 2015, this was quite a contentious issue. So I just wanted to walk through. This is a reimbursement agreement. All other matters, the project is approved, the designs are approved, everything else is settled. We're just talking about how the developer has stepped up and agreed to pay for a right-hand turn lane that was originally estimated to cost $200,000 and is currently before Caltrans for review. So it's a bit of a complicated issue because we have to meet Caltrans standards, and I'll talk more to that. Currently, because of Caltrans review, primarily adding a bike lane, causing the movement of a pole and the complete redesign, the cost escalated to between $600,000 and $700,000 at this time. And although the traffic counts I see have been updated in 2019, and they matched the 2013 traffic counts, but there is a requirement now to update the traffic study. And that's important because it'll talk about the fair share. And we have a new property owner and he's on with us. His representative is Cody from Lombardo and Gillis. And Dr. Dalla is on with his team, Harmon, tonight. So with that, so the plans are ready for construction. They've been ready for construction, approved by the city engineer in December. The reimbursement agreement addresses the manner and method of impact fee payments. So usually when a developer obtains their building permits only after the impact fees and estimated inspections and so forth have been paid for. As a condition of approval, the right turn lane has to be constructed, as my understanding, before the gas station opens to the public. This was a matter recommended by Caltrans that the city wrote into the conditions of approval back in 2015. The developer, again, will pay for the full cost of the right-hand turn lane, but will be able to be reimbursed. So the city will collect traffic impact fees from future development for the fair share, and that fair share is an exhibit to the agreement, and reimburse the developer over long term. Right now, it's recommended 20 years. So, but I just stated here in the slide for simplicity, a part of negotiation. So the gas station share has fluctuated between 30 and 40% of the cost of the right-hand turn lane. 34%, I've seen 36%. So the right-hand turn lane was designed and approved. Okay, we discussed that. It has been submitted to Caltrans approval. And after 4 months of sitting on it at District 5 in San Luis Obispo, they decided it was too large for their review and they sent it to Sacramento. So we had a big, powerful meeting in November with the team in Sacramento, and the Caltrans rep agreed to take charge of this project and put a team together. But when they heard that the right-of-way was in question, who was going to acquire a very small piece of right-of-way for this project, the Sacramento office stopped reviewing it. But nonetheless, the plans are at 70% review, and they're continuing now that the city has assumed responsibility for the right-of-way negotiation. And this is important because it speaks to what Caltrans requires for right-of-way acquisition. It's an entire 20-page process that they have outlined in a manual. And so we've had to hire a special consultant out of San Luis Obispo who's worked a lot with District 5 to acquire this right-of-way, and they're well underway now. And that has given Caltrans the level of comfort that they will continue their review of the project. So in summary, the project is approved by the city, the land use is approved by the city, the right turn lane building plans are approved by the city pending Caltrans review. And the purpose of the amendment to the reimbursement agreement is to clean up fiscal matters so the project can move forward. And that's important because there's been all kinds of rumors and other things. And so I'm glad that this project is finally coming forward, just so the community understands where we're at. So the first proposed amendment to the 2015 reimbursement agreement is provided, the 2015 reimbursement agreement is provided in Exhibit A. The developer will be fully reimbursed except for their fair share. And at times during the 3 years I've been here, they've requested a drive-through and they've been denied. They've requested solar panels on the top of the pumping station, and the planning commission denied that. And they've requested to open before the right turn lane is constructed, and that is to be negotiated in the draft agreement before you. If it is negotiable, we'll see how the council feels about that. Right-of-way acquisition, the city stepped up finally to take charge of the right-of-way. We will be fully reimbursed by the developer for that. It's about a $16,000 expense. Requested impact fee waivers. That was denied, but it's negotiated, and I'll go into some detail on that. Impact fees, there may be a dozen different impact fees the city charges for typical development. 2 of those are traffic impact fees, both local and regional. And then there are school impact fees and park impact fees and public safety impact fees. And I'll show you the list on the next slide. But I'm taking the fees forward to the council for a cost of living increase of 5.2%. So it'll be a little more than $80,000. And this is Exhibit E to the agreement. And it's hard to read here, so I've elaborated on it so that the council understands the terms of what we're proposing. The total fee estimate on this sheet is $80,000, $80,556. If we add 5%, it comes up to $84,000. These outlined, these 2 sections, traffic impact and traffic impact mitigation regional fees, are currently estimated to be $20,485 and $16,650. And that's over here on the right part of your slide, for a total of $45,135. The city would take those fees and use them to pay for the right-hand turn lane. So what the developer is asking for is a credit towards the cost. So it's their fair share minus this $45,000. So they wouldn't be double dipping. They wouldn't be paying impact fees as well as paying for the cost of the right-hand turn lane. And then I added 5.2% to show the council that would be as much as 47%. So if we subtracted 47,482 from the 84,754, we would get to $37,000 in remaining impact fees, which the developer is asked to defer until occupancy, till the construction has been completed. And that allows them to wrap these fees into permanent financing for the project should they need it at a lower interest rate. So those are important terms that are in the agreement, and the council, we can talk about those as you like. And then furthermore, there are other items in the agreement, and this was just provided to the city July 7th, and it shows what their traffic engineer, Keith Higgins, feels is the fair share. And it's using a $700,000 total and a Copperleaf contribution of $40,000. So that's a condition of the Copperleaf subdivision. And I believe we received those in SCIP funds. So I'm confirming that with our CPA now. We've had a conversation twice about it this week, but that would be appropriate because they were conditioned to contribute to the right-hand turn lane. These other developments are potentially new developments plus the existing conditions. So I don't know if the developer can answer questions. There are some footnotes here. And it talks about a March 7, 2019 volume that was the same as the December footnote number 4 below. The Lang Street subdivision, where is that project? That project is, they've applied to build 20 single-family homes, but the application isn't complete yet. So we haven't been able to bring the project forward to the planning commission or council yet because it's still changing. So as soon as that's done, we can bring that forward. We're aware of the Midnight Express intentions to develop a cannabis business on San Juan Hollister Road. And then what's not mentioned here is the Dale Coke property and any changes that might happen to the Diaz property that was up for sale. And that's a complicated piece of property that, if developed formally into a business park or something of that nature, would also hit this this impact fee. So this is Higgins Fair Share study, Exhibit D in the agreement from July 7.
Don, I have a quick question.
Sure, help yourself.
Going back to the chart, line 1, it says 4134.7% and $273,000 and 3,300. I don't see where that applies to. What development or which commercial development? So my first question is, where does that 273 come from, and how did it get there, and whatever?
Right, so it's my understanding, and I don't know, Keith isn't here today, and maybe the developer can speak to this. I don't know if Cody, their attorney, has any information on it. That's existing conditions, so that's without any of these developments occurring, right? Except for Copperleaf is now, obviously. But Copperleaf has come and gone, so we're not going to be able to change that $40,000 fee. So essentially, when I saw this on the 7th, I thought that meant that the city or grant funds or something was going to have to come up with that portion, that 39%. I don't know if
So excuse me again for interrupting, but I'm wondering, because I remember the fight in 2016 or whatever when they were working it out, 2015. I wonder if that's the Leal property, because they were at that time it was Mr. Gadwall and Mr. Leal, and they were having, let's just say, a bit of an argument over those fees for that right turn lane, because obviously the hotel would benefit from the same lane as the gas station. So I'm wondering if that is from the Leal, but I have no idea.
So that's, I don't believe that there are any fees assessed for the Leal project, but I can double check that. That was my understanding, that they were not subject to a contribution of this nature.
And excuse me, if we can hold questions to the end, because we all have them, so we can go through the presentation. Thanks, Don.
Sure, we're almost there. So another stipulation is, and it was part of the 2015 agreement, is guaranteeing that the developers paid in full minus their fair share. So there is development potential, as we've seen. We're doing a specific plan, a study of south of that neighborhood to see what other developments may be possible there or palatable to the residents of our community. So there is but there is in the end a need for the city to assure that the developer will be paid. And so it was proposed at one time that after 20 years, any gap between what was paid and what was owed would come from the city's general fund. The developers proposes it as sales tax, and as stated in the staff report, we estimate between $80,000 and $100,000 a year in sales tax being generated from this project. So the point was to take some of the proceeds from the project and put them back in to ensure that the developer was paid in full in 20 years. So that's something that's also negotiable. And then at this point that I wanted to address, opening the gas station before the right turn lane is completed. Caltrans is driving the schedule. That's one of our frustrations. Their decision to stop reviewing the plans and then start again without telling us is just an example of how they're driving the schedule on the right-hand turn lane. And so the developer is coming and asking, what if the right turn lane is under contract for construction? What if it's under construction and complete? And then it was proposed that if just the gas station be allowed to open and not the store while the right-hand turn lane is being completed. So it's an important thing to realize that the right-hand turn lane is developed for, it is oversized. And that's why we're allowed to use the impact fees for it and collect future impact fees. And Bob can explain this better than I can. There has to be a nexus between the fees collected and the need. And the right-hand turn lane has been oversized for future development, as we saw on the chart before. So there may be some justification, especially if we have some assurance that the right-hand turn lane is under construction, then maybe we would consider allowing at least the gas station to open. So I did want to introduce Cody Phillips tonight, the attorney for the San Juan Bautista Alameda Group, and sorry for the typo, introducing our new developer, Dr. Dahl. And Bob Rathie, if there's anything you want to add to my presentation, happy to do that now. That's all I have to report on this matter.
No, I think it was a good, very good presentation. It's a long running matter, so there's lots of information here.
Okay, Cody, did you want to say anything on behalf of the developer?
Yes, please. Thank you for the opportunity, Don, and thank you, Mayor Jordan and the council members for having this meeting tonight and for agreeing to a discussion item where we can all kind of get up to speed here together. My name's Cody Phillips on behalf of the developers, and just to give a little bit of background, kind of going off of what Don had said earlier, the project was approved back in November in 2014. And in that initial approval back in 2014, there was the condition of approval that Don mentioned. It's condition 18. And I don't know if it is in your materials, but I'd like to just read it to you tonight, if that's acceptable, just so we all know what the language is. And that condition read, the applicant shall contribute $200,000 for the construction of a deceleration and right turn lane on the south side of State Highway 156 at the Alameda intersection. The applicant shall enter a reimbursable agreement with the city for reimbursement of all costs of the improvements that are in excess of the fair share cost of the project's requirement to improve the deceleration lane. That condition led to the execution of a reimbursement agreement in 2015 between the then owner at the time, Harvey Dodwall, and the city, which had, that's the foundation of what we're working on tonight. And that contained additional language, which was meant to clarify the condition of approval and the original approval of the gas station and the right turn lane. And in that language, it says, this is in recital J, the right turn lane is the deceleration lane. There's some confusion about whether or not there were two separate projects that were required. And the city and not Dadwall shall complete the construction. Dadwall shall reimburse the city for the RTL construction cost up to $200,000. And Dadwall shall allow the city to reimburse Dadwall for the amount Dadwall pays, which is in excess of the project's fair share of the cost. So after that, some of you may be aware that, so that was in 2015. After 2015, this was tied up in litigation for a few years, and finally resolved. The court ruled in the developer's favor and the city's favor ultimately, and the project was allowed to move forward. So where we are now is we understand that in order to get the project underway, we have to make progress on the right turn lane, and the city doesn't necessarily have the ability at this time to fully front all the money for the right turn lane, because at the time that the reimbursement agreement was entered into, there was a valuation of the project at $240,000. And so now the current estimate, based on all the complications and everything else that Don just mentioned with Caltrans and the right-of-way acquisition and inflation and cost of labor and materials, the valuation of the project for the right turn lane is now up to $700,000. So in order to move this forward, to get the right turn lane done, to get the project going, the applicant is willing to, amend this agreement to provide for the provisions that Don outlined in his presentation, with a few conditions. And ultimately, those conditions are intended to ensure that the applicant or the developer owner is made whole as was intended under the original agreement, or as is provided under the original agreement. And those conditions are ultimately that we want to make sure that we are able to obtain the fair share contributions from other projects in the vicinity that utilize the intersection. I think it's a great point that Don brought up about the potential for annexation of other properties that may utilize this improvement and have their own obligation or fair share contribution that may be attached. And we want to be able to recoup that if possible. We also want to discuss the second point is tied really to the fair share contribution for the project. So as Don put up, our fair share contribution, under the latest numbers is 36.4%, ranging up to 40%. So if we assume that's the case, and we assume that there will not be any other properties that are annexed, which I think we have to do for the moment, the total amount of other contributions, fair share contributions that we will receive, that the developer would receive, would be around $140,000. It would be for the Lang subdivision, the Midnight Express Cannabis Project, and Future Growth Alliance, along with the $40,000 contribution that Copperleaf made, which again, that $40,000 that Copperleaf contributed was based on that $240,000 estimate. It wasn't in real world dollars at the time, and that's that's the way that happened. And we were, I think, probably beyond that at this point, but that's how much was collected. So from a practical perspective, $150,000 is about all that the project is going to be able to recover from other fair share contributions. So to make up the difference, what the project applicant is proposing is that we retain some portion, or are given as reimbursement, some portion of the sales tax revenue that's generated from this project during the reimbursement period. We had discussed at one point the possibility, or the city had presented at one point the possibility of as Don mentioned, the lump sum figure at the end of the 20 years. But our thinking on that is it seems untenable from a financial perspective, because over time, I mean, we know today that there's no other projects that are going to make up the difference between $150,000 and I guess it would be nearly $450,000. So we know there will be a shortfall. And if there's some portion of the sales tax that's contributed over time, say $20,000, $30,000 a year, that will make it a easier pill to swallow if there is any remaining balance at the end of those 20 years. So that's kind of our second point. So number one, we have the fair share contributions, including possible annexation. Number two, we have the collection and contribution of the sales tax, some portion of it. We understand that this is that's a positive thing for the city to be generating sales tax in the first place. So, we appreciate that the city is going to going to retain some of that. But then the third item is related to what Don mentioned at the end of the presentation regarding the occupancy of the project prior to completion of the right turn lane. So with respect to this point, the idea is that today, as we sit here today, the building permits are ready to be pulled for the project. And we could get going. I mean, I'm sure Harmon and Devin would like to get going, as soon as possible, next week if they could. So there is a very likely scenario where the construction of the project begins and is completed before the right turn lane is fully completed, given the fact that there's right-of-way acquisition that needs to be finalized with Caltrans. It involves, unfortunately, as Don pointed out, we're dealing with the state here to some degree. And so we would, for better or for worse, I just mean in terms of their timeline. And so what the proponents would request is that as to the gas station and convenience store portions only, that those portions of the project be allowed to open and be granted a occupancy permit so long as the right turn lane is, as Don said, where it will be under construction. It is in contract to be constructed, and work on the right turn lane is underway. And that the occupancy permit for the remainder of the project, which would be the restaurant component, would not be granted until the right turn lane would be completed. Those are kind of our three main items. And I do also just want to, I think it's worth mentioning that, under the original language of that reimbursement agreement, the developer was required to make a contribution of $200,000, and the developer over the past several years has exceeded that in the way of design fees and permitting fees with Caltrans. So they're kind of already beyond that threshold, and they're willing to continue to work to get the right turn lane finalized so the project can move forward. But we just need to close some of these loops with the city and make sure we're on the same page. So of course, the attorney took a long time talking, apologizes, very long-winded, but I do want to turn it over to the new owners, Dr. Dalla and Harmon, just for a few words if they'd like to.
Hi, Madam Mayor. Hi, all the council members. My name is Dr. Dalla. I'm not that old. I'm like, I'm a dentist by profession. I have a couple of dental offices. Being into gas stations, that's my family business from day one. And Harmon is a really good friend of mine. He owns a gas station in Patterson. I'm sitting in my gas station in Gulch, California, which is a really small town. So when we bought this piece of land from Mr. Gadwal, so we were under the impression that everything has been said and done, all the agreements have been finalized, and we looked at the agreement that was done with the city in 2015, that the fair share. So I'm kind of a go-getter guy, to be honest. Like, I really enjoy development, and I really want to move this project really, really forward. So we looked at all the scenarios. What can we do to make this project successful? So we started talking to Cody. He has been working with Mr. Gadwal, and Keith Higgins, who is the traffic engineer. And, we started talking to Caltrans, putting everything together. So I think Mr. Gadwal is now more in hotel projects. So he's like, okay, I don't want to upgrade a gas station right now. So here comes a young blood who wants to do some development, right? So Madam Mayor, so it's a really, really humble request. What we have been doing since 6 months, tirelessly working with Caltrans and everybody. And we are ready to fund almost 700,000, which is a lot of money at this stage, and helping city to develop the right turn lane so that the future developments can come. Only thing we are asking the city is to help us in some sale tax, because I have small kids and I really want them to enjoy the property at some point. Because if we spend like $400,000 or $500,000 for the city right now, and we are getting that in 20 years, right? That 500,000 right now in 20 years is going to be 2 million anyways, right? If we put that money into the stocks. We are doing this for help for the city and our own projects help. I didn't knew what I'm getting into, to be honest, but now I'm into. So I really need all council members' blessings. They can help us. Moreover, on top of it, Mr. Gadwal has this planned as an ARPO, right? I served in the U.S. Army for last 8 years, and I love 76. It's an American brand. So I changed from ARPO to a 76, which is Phillips 66, which has a quality top tier gas. We know we have Valero on the other side in the city. The next gas station is Casa de Fruta, which is Chevron, and we don't have any diesel in the city. If any farmers, anybody who is looking for diesel in the city, nobody has diesel. So we said, okay, we'll do everything remains the same. On top of that, what I did was, it was really hard string to pull, but I have Tesla agreeable, and we have a signed contract that Tesla can come to a small city like San Juan Bautista. So now 10 spots, that's huge. Imagine the impact with good families coming to the station. We don't want to be, doctor myself, I don't want to run a gas station where it's like all dirty and stuff like that. We want the families to be a destination point where people can come, have something. I'm a franchisee owner for Jamba Juice. I have Jamba Juice in my gas station right now, and I can get Jamba Juice approve me tomorrow for this site. But when I spoke to Don said, you cannot have restaurant business in here. And I asked Don, what is it? Because Gadwal never told me anything about it. I said, I was in the impression that, okay, we're going to have a restaurant up there, right? He said, if you have a existing restaurant in a city that is doing the same business, you cannot have another business of similar kind. But I was like, all the kids enjoy Jamba Juice. We can have Jamba Juice here. But then I said, you know what? We have spent almost like a couple $1 million to pay out Mr. Gadwal. We are paying $700,000 to build this right turn lane. And with cost of inflation, we are building this massive 6,400 square feet building, and I cannot even operate a restaurant or a Jamba Juice. And what should I do? Am I stuck, or I have to still work Saturday, Sundays, pulling more teeth? So, so I'm at this position. We really need your. My brother is full-time into gas stations. Herman is my cousin, so Herman operates gas station in Patterson. We want to run as a family business. So we really need only basically 2 helps. Main thing is, because right turn lane, we are paying. If our money is involved into it, we're definitely going to do it. But no bank will give us a loan with an agreement that, okay, when right turn lane going to be project, then you can operate. Then imagine we are sitting on another $5 million worth of loan and putting another $700,000 out of pocket for right turn lane, and we are in negative debt. So we want help from the city council that let us upgrade the gas station and store. Restaurants can come later. We can talk about that later if we even propose. I don't even have desire to operate a restaurant. Looking at what we can do in city or what I can't. Starbucks was ready to come in this site. They are ready to do the lease tomorrow in this site to have come. But if city doesn't want, I'm okay with that. But we just want to get what we invested to at least we have some positive cash flow coming. So if city can help us, let's say it's $90,000, city is collecting sales tax, right, a year from us. If they can pay us $40,000 a year, we'll be even in 6-7 years. And so that's pretty much it. We are not asking much. We are just asking for help.
Thank you very much for that. for both presentations. We appreciate it. Questions, comments, concerns from the council? Councilmember Edge?
Yes, good evening. Now, what was your name again? Dr. what?
Dr. Dalla, Devin Dalla.
Dr. Dalla. Dr. Dalla. Thank you. You sound very excited and you're just, you're ready to go, and I don't blame you. But are you proposing that we allow you to build your gas station without the right turn lane? Or is it going to be constructed during the time that you are constructing your station, your gas station?
We are saying that we are essentially this all 700,000 going to come out of our pocket initially, right? So there is no doubt that we're going to build the right turn lane. We only are asking a help. Let's say the gas station is built in a year and a half from now. Even if we start tomorrow, it takes that much time, right? And right turn lane gets developed in 2 years. For that 6 months gap, city should let us, because we are dealing with Caltrans, and you know how Caltrans are, right? So we don't want to build something and have the loan payment start, and then we are not doing business. So we just want city to do certificate of occupancy, and that right turn lane is under construction, right?
Okay. And excuse me?
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, Councilmember Edge. I just, if I may, I also have something to add to that. Would that
Okay.
be all right?
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to clarify also that the existing condition and the reimbursement agreement have the timing for construction of the right turn lane is provided in the agreement at section 1.2, and it says that the city shall construct the right turn lane concurrently with Dadwall's construction of the project. And the city shall have the right turn lane completed on or about the time that Dadwall's project construction is completed. So on or about the time that the construction is completed, that's when the right turn lane would need to be or should be completed. There's clearly some leeway there in terms of having it completely done, I would argue.
Okay.
And that's consistent with condition 18 as well, where it was always contemplated that the right turn lane in the project would be in coordination.
Right. Okay. And is there any way, Mr. Phillips, that because I think you're the spokesman for Dr. Dahl. The conditions that you mentioned, and the breakdown that we are seeing in front of here. I know this came from our city manager, I believe. Is it this report that's sitting in front of us? Is that from you, Don?
This was prepared at our. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Is that from your company? You
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so because it would be nice to have everything in writing. It sinks in my head a little bit better. I'm not as young as you, doctor. So, I like to read things. I like to study things. But I do have another question. What should happen if we do not have any development down the road to help with these costs? What would happen? I'm asking Mr. Phillips.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's exactly our concern, Councilmember Edge, is that, the reimbursement agreement, the agreement that we have now with the city requires that everything in excess, everything that Dadwall or the successor in interest, Dr. Dahl and Harmon, pay in excess of their fair share, would be reimbursable to the owners. So I think from our point of view, that would be the city would be responsible for finding the money from their general fund or wherever to reimburse the owners.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, thank you so much for both of the two groups, Doctor and Mr. Phillips. Thank you so much for your presentation and for your attendance here tonight and to, try and clarify this for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Those are all my questions.
Thank you very much. Vice Mayor Flores.
No questions, thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Friel.
We had a few questions, and I want to clarify something. I was not on the planning commission when this project was approved. I was on the planning commission when I don't know if they're the previous owner or the new owners came before us to change the canopy over the gas pumps, not solar panels. So we didn't deny solar panels. We denied the flat roof design that was asked. So I want to make sure that was clarified. You're welcome. Let's see. So we went into agreement with SJB Development, but we're going to pay SJB Alameda Enterprise. That's a question. So we went into agreement with one person, but now we're paying another person.
Right. I can speak to that, Scott. The property was sold to Alameda Enterprises from SJB Development.
Okay. Okay. So so the people that own it now are not the ones we were in agreement with.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Right.
That is correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I scribbled a whole bunch of notes here. That's a lot of this stuff was hard to keep up with. There's a lot of numbers flying around. So this chart that I'm looking at here that wasn't done by anybody in the city. There's a few things on there that kind of stood out. One, there is no future growth development plan or approved or planned for the end of the Alameda. The city limits ends at a rock's throw from the gas station site. Midnight Express Cannabis is, they came to us a while back ago with a project, but that's fallen through and they have not proceeded with that. And right now they're dealing with some other issues. Copperleaf did go through Lang Street subdivision. They've gone back and forth. So I don't know how far out they are. So it's hard for me to use any of these numbers from the chart when the numbers don't really exist. And then if I could go back to if I could just clarify this, in the original agreement with SJB Development, was the agreement that the turn lane had to be completed at the same time or prior to the development? I guess that's for you, Don.
Well, I think Cody and Mr. Phillips and Mr. Rathie talked about that in two different places. And there was.
I'm sorry, but I'm sorry I missed it. I was trying to absorb some. That's the only reason I'm asking. If I could get an answer from you, please.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Caltrans has gone back and forth on the 156 project. How many times now? 3 or 4? It's been really hard to keep up with what they're going on, and it looks like they keep punting this project, this turn lane project or decelerization or whatever they're calling it, back and forth to people. Nobody wants to touch this thing. So I'm super concerned about approving a gas station that's going to increase a little bit of traffic on Lang Street or a lot of traffic on Lang Street without any type of turn lane. What happens if what are we going to be liable for any vehicle accidents that happen there? Because we never had that turn lane put in prior to the turn lane that Caltrans says we have to have. That's my biggest concern. So I'm really not in favor of this project going forward until we get the approval from Caltrans and the go ahead to put a turn lane in. I'm afraid that we're going to get in some trouble. and it's not personal against anybody. And I apologize for the new owners that I don't know if the homework was there or not, or there was no disclosures about what's going on with that, but I have to look after our city first and any developer second. So I'll if you'd like to say something, sir, let me please finish my sentence. So I feel we are up. That's a huge liability. Right now, when 156 gets backed up, everybody's GPS or Waze sends people big rigs, various types of vehicles, right turn on Alameda and down the little frontage road, and it's being, impacted terribly. I could just imagine gas station traffic coming in and out of there without any type of. I'm just worried about it. That's all, and that's what I have to say. So, sir, if you've got something for, I don't know, Bob, is it appropriate for him to answer a question that I've raised? Is that okay?
Sure, I think that would be an efficient way to handle it. And I would point out that in the conditions of approval that the council approved back on appeal, that it was stated, the construction of the improvement will commence prior to or concurrent with the construction of the project. So that was part of the council's original conditions of approval for the project. And that statement was also, or that concept was also included in the first reimbursement agreement, that the project and the right turn lane would go along together, even though under the original traffic analysis, and I believe under the current traffic analysis, the right turn lane is still essentially, the capacity right now wouldn't necessarily justify putting in a right turn lane. And it did not justify that according to the traffic analysis in 2015, but Caltrans' preference is to have the lane put in at that point, and we've sort of just followed through with that. But it's always been the concept that the right turn lane and the project would go together to the greatest degree possible.
And if I may, sorry, perhaps not appropriate if I go, is it?
Okay. Can you, the gentleman that's at the gas station, I don't want to mess, Dr. Dahl, he wanted to say something.
Yeah. Hi, Scott. Thank you so much. I really, appreciate your comments. And if I was a council member of any city, I would have the same concerns that if, we have a gas station going in and we have increased traffic counts, it's going to be impacted more. My reasoning to that is the project is already approved. It's in the building permits. We can get the building permits issued tomorrow, right? I think Don can tell us that, but only thing is we cannot operate if the right turn lane is not made. So right turn lane is essentially the city's project that they have to complete, right? So that's my understanding. But as being a developer, what I'm doing is not just having city's rights and city's person's right. I'm willing to extend $700,000 worth of project towards the city's benefit. So even now, the Waze and other people are coming through Alameda and all the houses, they will get benefited. So we not only going to be the ones who are going to benefit it, it's going to be the city's best interest that developer is ready to put that much money into it, into the project, and the city people will have a safer right turn lane. So whether or not gas station is approved or not, I think it's already an approved project. So matter is just right now if the city wants to build it and from their funds, or will have the developer pay the funds, and then we have a reimbursed agreement that we can get reimbursed back. I think that's a confusion is there, right?
Oh, there's a lot of confusion here, and Caltrans is the biggest.
I don't see there's a confusion. Caltrans is ready to move forward with this project. They are just
okay. I don't want to go back and forth with you on this one.
Thank you.
We haven't got anything from Caltrans on this yet, so we can't go by speculation. I can't go by speculation.
Yep.
So that's just my thing. Couple more. That's, until I can hopefully sit down and digest some more of this. I'm glad we're seeing it for this meeting. So nothing for now, and hopefully I can meet with Don sometime and get on this. So thank you. I appreciate your opinions.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Scott. And for all council members, this is just a discussion item this evening. We're not making any decisions, so we have a moment to look at all of these numbers and all of the information presented and what everybody else has offered. Councilmember Edge, if you can hang on for a moment and let Councilmember Freeman take it for a moment. Go ahead, Councilmember Freeman. Stop.
Thank you. I'm going to follow up on what Scott was talking about. I still am concerned about the numbers. I talked about it 20 minutes ago, that top number of 273. I'm wondering where that came from. The Midnight Express, Scott and I have the exact same concerns there. We're on the cannabis committee, and we know that they're not on the path to developing cannabis at the present time. Lang subdivision is also somewhat speculative, and future growth is also very speculative. So I have a hard time dealing with speculation on financial numbers. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit about your project. I'm not, I think it's a great idea. However, times are changing, and I'd like to remind Dr. Dow, I believe it is, and I appreciate your enthusiasm and your willingness to invest in our town, and I think it's great. And Mr. Phillips too, I appreciate you. But when this was approved in 2014 and 15, the world was very, very different, particularly the automotive world. We've just learned recently in the last 6 months that both Ford and General Motors will no longer make gasoline powered cars in the year 2035. The largest selling vehicle manufacturer is Tesla, and I know you're trying to get a Tesla place in, and I think that's fantastic. I would also look into other not brands, but Tesla has a very specific plug-in, and the other brands of chargers for General Motors and Ford and VW, they use a different plug. So I'm just, you might need to get a second vendor in there. Electrify America and EVgo are two other vendors that do charging. And I will remind you, there is a lot, and let me repeat that, a lot of free money floating around from both the state and federal government for installing chargers. So that's something you really need to consider. And the great thing about charging is the cars don't charge as quickly as it does to fill a tank of gas, as most of you know. So that naturally leads to you having a nice sit-down restaurant, and Tesla is doing this at their supercharger centers all over California. If you go to Kettleman City, where they have their largest supercharger center, yeah, they have a very nice restaurant right there. So you charge your Tesla and you go in and you have a burger and fries or whatever, fish and chips, whatever you like. And so I'm trying to come up with some ideas. And I do like, I don't like waiting on Caltrans. They're this 156 improvement you've heard about, I'm sure. It was proposed in the year 2008. They have not yet broken ground, and I'm going to submit to you that this is the year 2022. So that's kind of how slow Caltrans moves sometimes. They have a million excuses, and none of them are any good, in my opinion. So I guess I don't have a real specific question other than the finances. Thank you, though.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Councilmember Freeman. Councilmember Edge.
Yes, Dr. Dell, you went so fast, it was hard for me to keep up. And you talked about, did you say you wanted to put in a restaurant, or you wanted to put in a coffee shop? What is your idea? And I don't know if you're aware that we do not allow franchises here in San Juan Bautista.
Yep, I was not aware of that, Miss Edge, when I bought the property. So I dropped that idea because it's really hard for me to come and operate something local. If I'm going to build it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on a lease. If somebody local who comes and lease that space, I would be more than willing to have them give that space to operate and run the restaurant. But I have no intention to bring in any franchisee. I was thinking, but I was not sure. So I have already dropped that idea. On if I can speak for Mr. John, really thankful for your insight, and I truly appreciate it's already in process. By 2035, most major companies are going EV. So what big oil companies are doing right now is, I'm in development for 4 gas stations right now. So we are developing gas stations because these are future sites, right? They have C-store component added to it. Even the EV gonna happen. Imagine Caltrans took from 2008 to 22, not able to build this because Caltrans doesn't want to pay for this. City doesn't want to pay for this. Ultimately, we are ready to pay for it. We will build it for sure. This right turn lane will be done in a year and a half. And other thing is EV, you will be amazed to for this, that Tesla, the agreement I did with them, in San Juan Bautista, they're gonna have 10 EV charging stations. They're gonna have Tesla and any other EV, either it's Hyundai, Volt, Kia, Toyota. So they have changed the adapters. So new Tesla stations, they knew that now they are acquiring, they are leasing these sites from us. If they just let Tesla run it, because now they are charging Tesla owners. I have Tesla myself. Before it used to be, you don't pay for Tesla charging. Now you pay when you be there, or if you sit idle, you still pay. But in our Tesla contract, anybody can, because they have changed their adapters. I have been to that location in Catalan City, you are telling me, like a big Tesla giant, right? So in San Juan Bautista, anybody will be able to charge their EV with the fast chargers through Tesla chargers, and with their new equipment. It never used to be, but now they have. I have site in Galt. I have ChargePoint. Where I got 200,000 from the state funding from California SCAL VIP program. But ChargePoint, very less people come through it. Tesla, I'm building a station in Plumas Lake, which is very south of Yuba City, a small town. People are so excited because Tesla can charge all right now. In like that was a big thing. In my 2 other stations, I have Tesla. So that's going to be huge for the city. Like any city owner who wants to have an EV, they don't have to drive to Salinas, or they don't have to drive anywhere. They can charge at Tesla, and I can send you that, the council member, all that agreement that shows from those Tesla, any EV can be chargeable. So this I will able to pull together because I have a relationship with Tesla, and now they're doing it for all their major sites. So I dropped that.
Yeah, thank you for that. And while they're charging for 2 hours, they can come and enjoy San Juan Bautista for 2 hours.
Exactly.
Instead of going to a sit-down restaurant at your place.
Exactly.
Not that that's a bad thing, but both would be great. One of my concerns is there has been conversations about opening up a gas station before the right turn lane is completed. If that's the case, why have a right turn lane in the first place? And that goes to Councilmember Friels. We've had several major accidents at that intersection. Locals are taking that right-hand turn and going on the frontage road at speeds that are not conducive for that area. Caltrans's, or the traffic study, was done a couple years back, and the traffic now in either direction at that intersection will go all the way to Union from Hollister and all the way out to Rancho Alarios, or at least from the first entrance into San Juan coming down 156. So I believe it's warranted. I hope future studies show that, because it's a dangerous intersection, and we have folks walking across it. And again, we've had some pretty major accidents across it. So thanks for bringing that up, Councilmember Friels. Another thing that Councilmember Friels brought up was the roof line, the flat roof with solar panels. The flat roof was denied, not the solar panels. And it was my understanding that new construction needed solar panels. And solar panels come in many, many forms, and your tile roof would be beautiful with solar tiled panels on it. Just a suggestion. I know that increases your cost a wee bit. Thank you for the diesel. I own a big old diesel truck. Not ready to give it up yet. The dollars are a big concern of mine also. Again, these numbers, not sure where they're coming from, or what developments are. Midnight Express Cannabis, not a thing with all that's going on with them right now. They have issues that they have to clear up before they come in front of us again for anything. Again, I appreciate this discussion. It's actually been really amazing to come before the council for the first time, and horrible that COVID has put us in a situation where everything is inflated. We're seeing those on several of our own projects as well. So the monies on something for the council to consider after we start digesting this a little more is how far out are we willing to go? And if we do want to go the way of some of the sales tax, again, it's going to be looking at all of the numbers that were presented by Attorney Phillips and yourselves. So if you will indulge us for a moment longer, I'd like to open this up for public comment. Do we have any public comment?
We do, Madam Mayor. And so anyone who is in attendance tonight, thank you very much for being here. Use the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen. Your hand will be raised. I'll bring you in the meeting. When you unmute yourself, your 3-minute timer will start. For those who are dialed in, who've called in, to raise your hand, press *9. When you're brought in, you'll press *6, and that will unmute yourself, and then your 3-minute timer will start. Again, for dial in, press *9 and your hand will be raised. In the meantime, I will be bringing in Wanda. If you unmute yourself, Wanda, you are in the meeting now, and your 3-minute time will start.
Good evening.
Wanda, hey, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Good evening, city staff and city council. So many of the comments you've already made are things that I was thinking of myself. This project was approved almost 10 years ago, and that's so much time has passed in that short little bit of time, if you know what I mean. At that time, there was no discussion of development south of San Juan. So any points that the developer is making that would be the cost would be shared by those developing south of San Juan were not considered at that time. And at this point, they're still not considered. And yes, I agree. We have to have that deceleration lane before the gas station can open. That was been discussed as well. And I do appreciate that the discussion of electric charging stations has come up because, you know, it's a different world than it was 10 years ago. We have to have electric charging stations. I'm from Pasadena myself, so I follow some LA news, and I know that they're considering banning gas stations at this point down there. I mean, they have so many on every corner. There's either a bank or a gas station. But, you know, we have to consider, we have to have electric charging stations. And I'm happy to hear that at this point, there's no plan for a restaurant there, because the initial idea was to have the gas station in San Benito County, in San Juan Bautista, to drive people into San Juan. One of the conditions of approval was that the large historic vintage photos that had hung in the bank were going to be hung in the convenience store at the gas station to entice people to come downtown. That's what we're after here, is to try to bring people into town. So let's keep that in mind. I have to thank those who've all spoken before me, because you've all made the points I wanted to make. I don't think I have anything else to add. So thank you very much for the consideration and for hearing everybody's point of view on this.
Thank you very much, Vanda. Do we have any other public comments?
Anyone else that would like to speak, please raise your hand at this time. There are no other hands raised, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Don, do you have any final comments? And Dr. Dolo, I'll get to you in a second. Thank you. City Manager.
It's a complicated project. I think we focused on the significant points. It is a question as to where the city was, where the city currently is, right? We have a 2015 agreement that right now the developer will pay for the cost of construction, and ultimately the city is responsible for making sure that they get made whole. So that there's some provisions in this amendment that are the same that are in the current agreement. So if no amendment is adopted, I guess the question for the attorneys, does the 2015 reimbursement agreement then still apply? I would assume so. So we need to make some changes and we need to make some updates. And seems like there's a lot of uncertainty right now, of course. And I don't know if the council can provide us with some direction on things we should be researching, things we can look into. I'm happy to call the team in Sacramento and find out what the status of the Caltrans review is now that the city has initiated the right-of-way acquisition. Other than that, I'm not coming away with a lot of direction here. We talked about doing a benefit study that if certain properties were developed, they would contribute to the project. We talked about extending the term in 5-year increments if the developer had not been made whole. We talked about different options such as that. The developer has pointed out today, Mr. Phillips has pointed out that he would prefer an installment plan of a chunk of sales tax, he calls it, per year, as opposed to waiting to see if the developer is made whole. So if we did that and the development came through, would the city then be reimbursed by reimbursing itself with traffic impact fees that it's collecting? I don't know if Bob can answer that, but it occurs to me that if we go out on a limb and put out 6 figures to reimburse the developer, and then a new development comes in and comes in with 6 figures of traffic impact fees, if the city then puts that back into its general fund, I don't think it works that way. So yeah, to me, there are still some unanswered questions and a lot of gray area in regards to the financing. So that's my summary. Thank you all for speaking your mind tonight. I appreciate your feedback.
Thank you very much. Attorney Phillips?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Just quickly, I had my hand raised before Don had made his comments, so I will also just answer something he said too, but I just wanted to respond to Miss, I think her name is Guibert's comments this evening regarding the contemplated development south of Highway 156. While it's true that there were no specific projects that were identified in the EIR, the traffic report, or the resolution for the project, there was the concept of a fair share contribution by any development south of 156, and the idea that our project, or this property in particular, would be responsible for its fair share in relation to the other properties that had the potential for future development. So just to clarify, while there may not have been specific projects contemplated, certainly the potential for reimbursement from other projects had been contemplated. And I think I was going to respond to something Don said, but I ran myself in circles already. I think responding to Don's comment about how we might proceed regarding potential for an installment plan in conjunction with receiving reimbursement from other projects. I don't think they are mutually exclusive. I mean, the potential for a project coming that would close the gap, if you will, between the proposed or what we have in Keith's analysis there, which accounts for, I mean, I'll put it this way. I think that the Copperleaf subdivision, the fact that it only made a $40,000 contribution creates in and of itself something of a gap that's going to have to be accounted for one way or another. And I don't know, short of a subdivision that's, you know, got a couple hundred homes back there, how that kind of fee would be generated from a future project. So however, that being said, I think there's a way to have them coexist in the agreement.
Okay. And I could just speak to one of Don's questions. Cody, are you finished? Right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
That's no problem. Well, speak to what the 2015 agreement, you know, is a valid agreement. It would remain in place. And it's far out of date.
So the council has a copy of that agreement. It was Exhibit A to the
Correct.
agreement sent out.
Yeah.
And also I have not had a chance to reach out to Keith and talk to him about his assumptions about that initial number, that first question that Councilmember Friels had. So I would need some time to reach out and talk to Keith so I understand the numbers he's put together.
Thank you. Go ahead, Doc. Sorry.
Sorry. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, all the council members. Really appreciate, you know, see, for any project, when we think we want to do it, we want to do it, right? Ultimately, we are talking about, you know, finances here, right? See, as Mayor mentioned that she has a diesel truck and she loves it. And we have all San Juan Vista is farming community. And we have so many diesel trucks, and I don't see any diesel trucks going for next 20, 30 years, even EV comes for our farmers, strawberries and everything. So if they have to travel another 15 miles to Salinas or 101, 10 miles at least, imagine how much impact we are putting on our, you know, pollution, because they have to get diesel from 15 miles far. Other than that, just honestly, I see this project as like, you know, because Caltrans wants us to build it. There's a cost involved. What I'm saying basically is, we'll put the money in, right? We just want assurance from the city that we get paid somehow, in simple terms. Let's say, and as you guys said, like traffic analysis. If Don, can you share the screen that Keith showed in his analysis? In the analysis, like the fair share contribution, the slide everybody was seeing. So if you see that in the last paragraph, in the end.
Right, I'll get there.
Yeah, so in there's a line, if you see Lang Street subdivision at the number 3 from the last line in number 3, it says Lang Street subdivision traffic impact analysis draft report. So they did this traffic report in 2019, right? After 2019, we had COVID. So I don't see traffic has changed much after COVID. It has decreased, not increased. So, but the idea whole is that Keith is a traffic engineer. He did the analysis. So if you see that our fair share, we are eastbound in the evening, we are making 43 trips in the PM hours, and Copperleaf is making 19 trips. So if Copperleaf is making 19 trips, those 19 trips people are coming back home, they're gonna get the gas and they're gonna go home. instead of they making another U-turn to Valero, make more impact analysis in the city, come through the highway and come back home Copperleaf. So what I'm basically, Madam Mayor and other council members are, we are ready to move forward with this project. We just need all of your blessings, how we can make this a nice project and come into an agreement, how we can get this. And we have Harman, he's my partner, and he wants to, share his thoughts as well.
Hello, everyone. I just
Go ahead,
want
3 minutes.
3 minutes, maybe less than that. Just want to finalize it about that, occupancy permit that we've been discussing. Our concern is that, let's say if we start our construction, since it's an approved project and we pull the permits, it's going to take us roughly about a year to complete the project. We just don't want to get stuck where we're making our loan payments and the right turn lane does not end up maybe next 2 years, 3 years or something. That's the only concern. We don't want anything that, hey, you know what, we would like to get occupancy before the right turn lane completes. No, we don't want that. We just want some kind of assurance. Either city can wrap it up, the construction in a year or so, we have no problem. We can work with that where it could be simultaneously, we're constructing our project and city can construct the right turn lane, maybe a month and 2 months on and off. That's not a big problem. We just don't want to get stuck after construction and not able to open it.
Like Mr. Dadwal.
That's, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for the information, the presentation. So Don, you mentioned a couple of things. The status of Caltrans. If we can find out where all of these monies are coming from, what fair share really means. What am I missing, council members? What are we charging staff to look at? Until we look at what we have in further detail, we really don't know. I think everybody wants to look at the slides. And then if we can maybe bring it back for a little more discussion next month. Don, when you get numbers and everybody has had a chance to look at, if you can forward these slides to everybody.
All the slides are a summary of the information you have in hard copy. It's just a summary. I'm happy to do that.
Thank you. I'm not sure we have the last page, do we?
I thought you did, but
we might. I
don't think we do. And then
I did not notice that.
There was
we do. I apologize. Keith Higgins is traffic engineer. Second to the last page.
Yes, you have it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, council members, if you will, sorry, Don, please take advantage of Don's time and ask him questions. He finds no humor in that statement. And if we can bring this back in the August meeting.
I think it would be smart to take time. I've still got staff reports to write for the 19th. And those reports need to be ready to send out Thursday night. So there's a lot of questions and the council deserves the time to allow staff and the developer to work through them. And we would need at least a couple of weeks to do that.
Right. So it's the August meeting, okay? I think that's August 16th.
Yeah, I think that would work fine for my schedule.
Okay, perfect. So between now and then, council members, if you have any more questions, comments, concerns, or need more clarification on any particular item, please get with our city manager and we'll bring this back for the August 16th meeting. Attorney Phillips, final comment?
Yes, I'm sorry. It's more of a clarification, Madam Mayor, about the next meeting. We appreciate and understand the need for everyone to digest and for us to get finality on some of these answers and hopefully have a finalized agreement that everyone can look at so we can go through terms as well. But I'd like to, I think on behalf of the developer, indicate our hope that for that meeting, we could take action, assuming that we have answers to everything and we have something finalized instead of another discussion or scoping meeting.
TBD.
Okay.
We'll do our best to make it an action item. If we're all speaking to the city manager and our city attorney to get questions answered.
Sure.
It could go on as an action item.
We appreciate that, and we appreciate everyone's time tonight. Thank you very much on behalf of the developer.
I would just mention relative to the traffic analysis here that you have in the slides and in the sample, that just came in late on Friday night. So we really haven't had a chance to delve in with Keith Higgins, traffic engineers folks, and really see exactly how they came up with these numbers and really look at that in some detail. So that was a late addition. Prior to that, we were talking about, as Don mentioned earlier, sort of a defined benefit area from which the impact fees would be drawn to pay for this project over a 20-year period. So we might want to go back to a little bit of that and understand this traffic study a little bit better. So that would be just my comment. I think there's a lot here, and that I think we can really we could definitely make a better project than we would under this 2015 agreement.
Thank you. Councilmember Edge, final comment?
Yeah, no, I would just like to ask Mr. Phillips if you could, give us an outline of what you told us verbally and also what you put in front of us so that we can, have an opportunity to look at everything and be able to make a decision.
Understood. Regarding our points and what we'd like to see incorporated
Everything.
into the agreement.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there
We
was
can
a
do
lot
that.
that was verbal. So, it needs to be in writing so that we can digest everything.
Understood. That's a great suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Gentlemen, again, thank you very much. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your project. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for all
Thank
council
you.
members for having us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion item 5B, public meeting format changes anticipated for July 19th, 2022 regular meeting. City manager.
Thank you. Just real quickly, some of you have seen, most of you have seen the council chambers, and yesterday got to participate in a little bit of demonstration of our new AV system that we have installed. There's a few changes pending. They didn't come today and move the camera, for example. So there's a few final adjustments that we're making. And then there's one, I reached out to CMAP, to their technician to make sure he was comfortable and ready to drive our meeting, as they call it now. Not just camera, but work the Zoom, etc. And I think Victor Mora is ready to do that for CMAP. He and Paul De Silva were meeting here earlier in the week and agreed that we have a great system and we can't wait to use it. So the bottom line is we plan to return. We're drafting an agenda for the Tuesday, the 19th, to return to open meetings. Having said that, we'll have the hybrid Zoom facility to accommodate Zoom attendance as well. which will work really well for council members who aren't quite comfortable being in this building for 4 hours with the other people, or for consultants and travelers that can participate from their office or from their home rather than making the trip out to San Juan Bautista. So having said that, we wanted to announce tonight that we will be inviting the public to our next council meeting at 6 p.m. I'm not sure if we'll have closed session at 5 p.m. and a separate agenda this time. But that's our target. We're putting that agenda together as we speak. So the mayor, if you wanted to say anything about that, we've had some pressure from the public to return to open meetings, and we'll be doing that next Tuesday.
And the pressure from the public is great, but we're looking out for the safety of ourselves and the public. And that's why one of the reasons why we have not been in public again with the constant roller coaster of COVID. I did sit in chambers without a mask and with a mask, and maybe Councilmember Friels can speak to this. And Don was also on the other end on how it sounded remotely through the microphones with a mask on. It sounded pretty good in chambers. It is really cool. We do have several new monitors and cameras set up. Scott, quality of sound from your end on that?
It was good. I think when you were speaking with your mask, it kind of knocked down the reverb a little bit.
I'll be darned.
Maybe that might need to get worked on, because if there's noise in the room, it may intensify that. I don't know. I'm not a sound engineer, but it sounded pretty good. And the camera angles, I'm sure they're probably tweaking those, but it's clear. We can see everybody. So, and I'm looking on a little iPad, so it worked pretty good.
Right. Cool. Good. Thanks. Any other questions, comments, concerns, Councilmember Edge?
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Flores? Please unmute yourself there, Vice Mayor.
Froze. He looks like he
Oh, there he is.
No questions. No questions, no comments. A lot of work, a lot of information.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Councilmember Friels, anything else on the Zoom next week? I mean, on in-person next week and the platform?
No, I hope to be in the chambers next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman?
No, nothing to add. I like the new system. I saw it yesterday. It seemed to work well.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other, so looking forward to seeing all who want to venture out next Tuesday at 6 o'clock.
I would just mention that if we're doing this, and we're talking about doing this in a hybrid format, I think the hybrid format really applies to the public's opportunity to either attend remotely or to attend in person. I believe if we're going to conduct, a council meeting outside of the emergency regulations that allow us to do remote meetings now, that we would need to have a quorum present.
The quorum present in chambers?
In the chambers, yes. And for council members who were not present, they would have to follow the telephonic, regulations. They could do it by Zoom as well, I believe. I don't think they'd be restricted to have to be on the telephone, though. We would have to list the locations in the agenda as we did previously.
And that's what they're doing at the supervisors and other cities where there are some members.
Right. I think that's what they're doing.
Listing every location?
For those who are not present and participating remotely, yes.
Interesting. Can we verify that under the emergency orders?
Yeah, well, the emergency orders allow you to have a complete remote meeting. but we're talking about doing something other than that. And I think that other than that is going back to what we did before with the hybrid option being available to the public to attend either by Zoom or in person.
But not council members.
Be leaving, yeah, council members could attend as they did before under the telephonic, and I'm using that, it's an old term, I know. I think Zoom would work under that same, but we would have to list the location in the agenda. We'd have to follow the existing regulations, and we wouldn't be under the emergency regulations. We can't, we have to be one or the other.
Doesn't a council member just have to disclose where they're, don't they, if they did it at the beginning of the meeting, disclose that they're from a remote location?
It has to be on the agenda, Scott. By the Brown Act, it has to be on the agenda.
Okay. Okay.
So if they're broadcasting from home, we just need to say that in the agenda?
Yeah, it would say that on the agenda, yeah, and there are other requirements for remote locations. You know, there's supposed to be an agenda posted. The public is supposed to have access, and they're supposed to be able to hear the meeting. Some of these regulations, I think, are not always observed, but that's what the Brown Act does say.
So if I were to stay at home, people would be allowed to come into my home and attend the meeting?
They would have that option, yes. As they did before. That was the rule before. Before all the COVID stuff, that rule hasn't changed. There's just another layer in place for remote meetings at this point, as long as the governor's emergency order remains in place.
Okay.
And we can verify this, of course.
Okay, yeah, we'll have to figure that one out, in case anybody is concerned about, any of our council members are concerned about the size of the dais and the proximity to another council member. Okay.
Whether we want to be installing plexiglass, I've seen other councils, chambers, we haven't done that. It's not going to be done by next Tuesday. So, yeah, we need to work on that one, Bob.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, lots of conversations between now and the posting of the next agenda.
Oh, hang on a second. There was a new study showing that plexiglass is actually bad for not getting COVID. It actually increases your chances of getting COVID because it decreases the air circulation in the room. So most places, if you noticed, have taken out the plexiglass, like Costco, Nob Hill, et cetera, et cetera.
Interesting. Brave new world. Okay, great. Thank you very much for that. Things to think about between now and Thursday. Any other, I don't think we have any other final questions, comments, concerns. This is not a regular meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you very much. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Edge, Councilmember Friels. With the second, may I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Edge,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
We have a unanimous vote, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. Have a great
Have a good
evening.
evening.
Thanks, Norma.
You're
Bye.
welcome.
Bye,
For
Norma.
the audio record, the meeting has adjourned at 8:25 p.m.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Have a good one.
Bye.